kick off luncheon. I know like most of you if you grew up in Knox County, you grew up with the fair. I remember my first experiences being here when I was 5 years old, my first cotton candy, my first candied apple, first fair rides, all the things, such an important part of my childhood. And then fortunately, I had 2 sons, and I got to live it all again about 25 years later, taking them to the fair. It was a really important part of their life. And then 10 years after that, I became a big brother and big sister. I was in the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and I became a big brother and brought those kids through again. So I've had 3 different opportunities to see the fair through the eyes of children, and it's just such a great experience for all of our youth, and it's just made such an impact on so many of us here in the community. Also, I was Commissioner of Economic and Community Development. We've got some stats on some of the posters, but also makes a huge impact on our community. It's a great economic driver, so it's also important for those reasons. And then finally, being in the community, working on a lot of different projects, one of which I'll talk about in a minute, about finding ways to bring our community together. I don't think there's any better way to do that than through the Tennessee Valley Fair. People from all parts of the county and beyond come together and have friendships and fellowship and great experiences. So this is such an incredible asset to our community. I'm just happy to be a part of this and excited to be able to share a few things with you today. Now, Mayor, you've probably had the same experience. Sometimes you have one of those days where you've got to speak like 5 different times. This is one of those days, even though this is the most important. I was afraid I'd forget my instructions, so I brought them with me. Let me read them one more time just to make sure I got all the notes right before I start. I'm not sure who this was that sent it to me, but dear Randy, thank you for agreeing to be our keynote speaker. Here's a few things for you to keep in mind. First, it would be great if you could talk about UT's commitment to agriculture and maybe about the importance of 4-H to the state and how important county fairs are at 4-H. Second, it would also be nice if you make a comment about the new Covenant Park and its success. And third, and most importantly, remember, no one really came here to hear you speak, so be brief. Okay. So, with those instructions in mind, let's talk about 4-H for a second. So we all know a lot about UT. I'll give you a few things you might not know. You know that we have world-class athletics. Last year, of our 16 teams, every one of them went to the playoffs. You may also know that we have great academics, and we're moving up in almost every public ranking in every one of our colleges, and we're exceeding in every way. What you might not know, though, because Donnie Plowman is, I think we're coordinating about right. She's at an advisory board meeting right now and getting ready to announce a new record enrollment at the University of Tennessee, Knox. Enrollment's up 5% to over 40,500 students, and the largest class in the history of the University of Tennessee, over 7,000 students. She'll give you more of the details later. It's getting harder and harder to get in. We had over 64,000 students apply for those 7,000 positions this year. It's the place to come for students, not only across the state of Tennessee, but across the country. So we're really proud of all that success. Across the state, all of our campuses are doing great. I just got the numbers in this week, also not published yet, but soon to be. UT Martin's up over 8%, UT Southern's up over 9.5%, and UT Chattanooga up over 2.6%. So everywhere you look across the state of Tennessee, UT is growing and thriving and giving back. So we're really proud of that, but we're not more proud of anything than our efforts with 4-H. So total, we've got about 65,000 students across the UT system, but we've got 151,000, almost 2.5 times more, 151,000 4-H students, 151,000 students all across the state of Tennessee, learning things that they're not getting in some of their county schools. They're learning about animal husbandry, they're learning about civics, they're learning about public speaking. Go to a public speaking contest with 4th graders and 6th graders, they will blow you away. I mentioned the civics part. That's something that I'm particularly proud of. I think our state, I know, our state has a lack of civic knowledge and civic engagement, and it starts with our young students. We can't wait until they become college students to start teaching them civics, and 4-H is doing that. I know you talk to people from time to time that are down on the future of America. They watch too much news, and they're saying, I really worry about the future of our country, and to them I always say, go to 4-H Congress. Go to 4-H Congress and watch those 300, 350 students that are participating in that, and you'll walk away with renewed confidence about the future of our state. So proud of 4-H, and 4-H depends on county fairs, not just the Tennessee Valley Fair, fairs all across the state. So a really important part of the program. Last thing about 4-H, I just want to thank all of our legislators that are here, the Tennessee General Assembly. One of the things also 4-H is trying to do is help complement our instruction around the STEM fields. We need more engineers, we need more computer scientists. Every industry you talk to will tell you that, but you've got to reach them early. And because of the legislature and our governor, we have a $45 million investment into our 4-H camps across the state to outfit them with great new STEM centers. Right now we have about 15,000 students a year going through the 4-H camps. In the future, we expect to have 50 to 60,000. Each one of them will get a week's worth of experience around STEM. So this isn't just a spark to interest them in STEM, but really a light of fire. So I think this is a great opportunity for 4-H, along with the General Assembly, to really make a difference in providing the workforce that we need for the future. So again, very proud of our folks at 4-H. Also want to share a little bit about another park that we have very close by, just 2 miles away, Knoxville's Covenant Health Park. One word about that, in case you missed the news, on Wednesday, it was announced that Covenant Health Park is the best new ballpark in America. So we're really proud of that. I want to congratulate this community because it was the community that put this park together and all the people that had so much to do with it. I'm afraid I would forget rule number 3, which was be brief, but I thought to thank everybody. But the General Assembly and the governor who helped support the park, our city council and our county commission, our 2 mayors worked closely together, helping us overcome all kinds of challenges to make this successful. Our architects, our engineers, everywhere you turn, there's somebody that had a hand in making this park what it is. So I got to do an interview about 4 days ago, and the person asked me quite a few questions. I was thinking I would just share with you the answers to 3 of the questions. One of the questions was, has the Covenant Health Park been a success? It's been a success in multiple ways. So first, from an attendance point of view, attendance is up 50% from what it was last year. And then when those fans come, they're spending 50% more per game on merchandise, and they're spending 50% more per game on concessions. So in every way, financially, it's been a success. Oh, and I should mention, sponsorships up 600%. I thought about maybe thanking all of our sponsors, but I would leave somebody out, so I'm not going to do it. But just thank one of the sponsors are in this room. Thank you for sponsoring the stadium and making it what it's become. So it's been a success from that perspective. But probably more importantly, one of the most important objectives we had in building the stadium was building community, bringing people together. We had this thriving downtown, and maybe a part of our town that hadn't had as much investment, East Knoxville, and how could we connect the two? By building the stadium between those 2 areas, we wanted to bring our communities together and spur economic activity toward East Knoxville, and bring our citizens together in this one new park. And it's exceeded expectations. When you go to a baseball park, it's very different than other athletic events. Now, if you go to the game tomorrow might be an exception. However, most football games, when you go to the football game, everybody's riveted on the game because they're worried about the competition. But they're riveted on the game. 90%, they've done studies about this, 90% of the heads in a football game and a soccer game and a basketball game, 90% of the heads at all times are facing forward, watching the action. At a baseball game, 50% of the time, people are looking side to side, talking with their friends or neighbors. An anecdote, I remember going to a game early in April, I think it was, and this never happens, but we had a rain out. Got there at 6:30, started raining. I'm with 2 other couples in our suite, and we thought, well, we'll wait. And next thing you know, we just talked and we ate, and next thing it was at 8:30, and thought, well, it's probably time to go. As we leave, I looked around, nobody else had left either. You're with your friends, with your family, you're having great food and fellowship. Why go anyplace else? And that was the whole point. You know, sometimes you go to a ball game or the baseball field and a baseball game breaks out, but that doesn't really affect the good time you'll have. So it's been great in bringing people together, and we're really proud of that. The second question was, what was your most memorable moment in this first year? And there's several, so it was kind of hard, but the first one that came to mind I think was probably the best. And that was when we celebrated the unveiling of the 8 bronze statues of African American players in the Southern Negro League back in the 20s. If you haven't been to the stadium, please go check them out. I had one of our PR people tell me that's been in the business for like 17 years, told me that in her 17 years, It was the most emotional moment that she's ever had at any type of event like that. So we're there, and by the way, Renee Kessler is the MC. So if Renee Kessler, Dr. Kessler is emceeing it, it's expected that there will be a lot of tears because she's just great at evoking emotion. But she shared the history of these players and their experiences and all their successes. But she reminded us all that none of them ever expected to be remembered. None of them ever expected, by their wildest dreams, to have a bronze statue of them 100 years later. But it was an opportunity to recognize our history and our past, and again, bring us all together. So that was, again, and I was like everybody else with some teary eyes, but it was such an emotional moment. And again, it symbolized the opportunity that a park like this has to bring us all together. Just a side note, by the way, it's not just about baseball. So far this year, we've had over 200 events that were non-baseball. By the time the year is over, there'll be 350 events that are non-baseball related. Opportunities for people to come and have weddings and have all types of public and civic events at the stadium. So that was my most memorable moment. And then the last thing I'll conclude with this was just they asked, so what was your biggest challenge? And all of it. I mean, there's so many things. You know, right now we're kind of in celebration mode. You go to the game, you have great food, and you're just thinking, wow, this is wonderful. And you sometimes forget about all the things we had to do to get there. So I'll forget a few things that you would want me to, but I'll start. First, you had to find 9 acres downtown to build a stadium. It wasn't that easy to do. And then you got to figure out the utilities. It turns out that every main water pipe and utility pipe passed underneath this piece of property. And some folks in the power company said, well, this is a great opportunity to upgrade to a new system, and you should pay for that too. So I don't think I should have to pay for that. So that was a negotiation. You start tearing down buildings and that have been there for 100 years. It's amazing the asbestos and all the stuff that you didn't expect that were in that. That was the easy part though. Then we go to county commission and city council and start sharing our proposal. We had a lot of support, but there was a lot of debate as well. We spent a lot of time debating all those things. You might remember when we started building this, there was a little thing we were passing or getting past COVID, and everything was, we were in this middle period of hyperinflation, still prices going up 20%. So it seemed like every 2 months, we get an estimate for what it's going to cost. We do what we call value engineering, where you cut this out and you cut that out, and then they come back and do another estimate, and it's higher than the last one because the prices have gone up on the remaining things that you had. So there's so many challenges to get through this. And I would say, there was a lot of challenges, there was a lot of hard work, but we were able to get it done for one reason, and that's because we worked together in Knox County and Knoxville City as a community. There were so many times when there was something that could have blown up. You know, it would have been really easy to start throwing grenades at the other side and start arguing in public and talking about all the challenges, why it's their fault or the other person's fault. But we never did that. Either Mayor Jacobs or Mayor Kincannon or somebody else would say, hey, let's get together and talk. I don't remember how many times we had meetings like this, where we would walk into a room and we didn't know how we were going to solve it. What would seem like from the outside an intractable problem, we got to put a lot of smart people around the table, knowing that we have a certain common goal in mind, and we would figure it out. I share all that with you, and I'm going to, my team said, don't bring this up, but I'm doing it anyway. So I'm going to take a little on the edge here a little bit, but the 100-pound or the 500-pound gorilla in the room, the elephant in the room, is what's the future of our fair here? I don't know. I don't have a proposal to you, but I do know that the people that are going to solve the future and plan out the future are the same people that were sitting around that same table helping figure out Covenant Park. And I believe in our team and our community, and I believe that we're going to get together and we're going to be able to figure this out, because there's too much good, too much opportunity not to make sure that we come up with a great solution. And I know we will. Thank you all.